anything that anybody would like to ask of any of those of us who are here?
There were concerns raised by some retailers about brown paper bags, and that there was additional costs in the counties where, plastic bags were banned. Your thoughts on that issue?
I think we ended up working our way through it so that everybody knows that there's enough time that we can try and figure out exactly what needs to be done and any other concerns that exist. But frankly, we believe that this is the first step to get us to where we need to be in 2015. Tulsi, you want to add anything?
Sure, I'll just add that the cost of biodegradable plastic bags, which are allowable under the legislation, is very, very low, and actually much lower than the paper bags and the thick paper bags that the neighbor islands have found to be very costly. And if I'm not mistaken, the biodegradable plastic bags are in the 3 to 5 cent range versus the 20-cent cost of the paper bag. So I guess the point being that there are many options out there for the business owners and the retailers to be able to provide a service that they see fit for their business.
And again, we want to encourage everybody to bring their own bag and get used to doing it before we hit 2015. The sooner we all start doing it, the better for everybody, particularly for the environment here in Honolulu, which, as Councilmember Gabbard previously talked about, is precious to all of us.
And just to add to that, they're, as a separate thing and independently and taking their own initiatives, some of the retailers have even talked about giving away, for a certain period of time, free reusable bags, similar to the one the mayor was displaying earlier. So I think there really is a collective, holistic approach to everyone coming and saying, how can we do this? How can we try to change behavior so that we're not using plastic bags?
And I will, of course, follow that example, except I won't be accepting any from them because I feel that the zoo bag is much more fashionable.
Some of the environmentalists also suggested that maybe eventually the city should also do away with brown bags of all kinds as well that are non-biodegradable.
There's absolutely no option that isn't on the table with this amount of time to look at. So is that the kind of thing that can be discussed? I think one of the most important things for us to do is to do the implementing legislation that needs to be done, the rules and regulations that have to be done between now and 2015. We need to get started on that right away. But frankly, ideas that might improve on where we're going to end up with this bill are open, welcome, and can be considered because we've got this lead period of time before 2015 and maybe something that could be accomplished with an administrative rule. Thank you so much for coming.
We want to ask other questions. Sorry.
Yeah. Since we have Tim Steinberger here, could we ask him if there are any updates can you give us on the Alawai situation, the race fight?
Oh, the Loch Ness Monster?
Yes.
Yes, you'll start seeing a lot of activity starting on Monday. So the contractor will be moving on site at that time and then starting to take care of the issue. And I think we're going to be on schedule, like I said the other day.
Do we have a cost attached to this job now?
Not yet.
Even a ballpark?
No, I haven't really asked DDC to give me those numbers, but we can get those numbers if you'd like.
What is the status of that pipe? Was it completely submerged? It wasn't, right?
It's always completely submerged.
Oh, it was completely submerged.
Yeah, it's just
okay.
that there was gassing of the fluid inside of the pipe, and eventually it accumulated on one location and it floated.
Well, it was submerged, but then there's a section that's out over, right by the community gardens at
That's what I
Alawai.
thought, yeah.
But
Yes.
that's out, and then there's another portion by the Atkinson entrance to Ala Moana that's also
That's
out.
also
That's
so
also
will the
out.
one by the school or the community garden ever go completely under, or is that going
No,
to?
this is a bypass.
The bypass,
Eventually,
okay.
we're going to eliminate that pipe.
Okay,
it's
that's
only
what I thought.
intended to be temporary.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a
That's what I thought.
temporary bypass.
Mhm.
And because you brought it up, Gordon, also that has been determined now, because they're mobilizing come Monday, is the fact that it's on the promenade side.
Yeah, but that's the one change. We were talking about going over on the street side, but because of the parking issue, we decided that it was probably better not to disrupt the residents on that side, but go over on the promenade side.
Mayor, we wanted to ask you about Ernie Martin. Chair Ernie Martin seemed pretty upset with you today at the council meeting. I don't know if you got to follow that, but he said you sent a letter on May 4th that was disrespectful, premature, showed you didn't have confidence in your staff. Can you tell us your response to that? What did this letter say, by the way?
The answer is no. I'm not going to discuss that until I've had a full debriefing with Doug, so that'll be something that comes later. But I have tremendous confidence in my staff.
Mayor, do you mind if I ask you a question in response to something the governor said about rail?
That's not the right time to do. That's not the right time. It's not the right time to do that either, because I haven't had a chance to speak to the governor yet. So I'll speak to him about that.
Back to the question that Maria had, the issue seemed to be that your letter seemed to indicate that what the city council was doing was illegal. You signed that letter. Do you feel that what the
I'm going to
city
wait and
council
understand
doing was
exactly what was said, because I wasn't there when it was discussed, and get that from Doug, who was there, and then I'll respond.
Maybe you can just talk about the letter. Can you tell us about the letter? Why you felt
The
writing that
two
letter?
of them come hand in hand.
Two of them
Okay.
come hand in hand. Okay.
Okay, so I'm willing to talk about it, but
Okay.
at
Let
an
us know when
appropriate
we'll
time.
be back. Gordon and I will come. I wanted to ask
It
you
may
about.
be. It may be very soon.
Okay, good. Previous mayors have gone down to testify on their budgets, and the governor was frequently seen in the halls of the Capitol. But have you been down there? I haven't seen you there. I was just wondering, have you been down to testify for your budget this year? And if not, why not?
Actually, I leave that type of detail to both Doug and to Mike Hansen, who I believe are well armed to be able to answer the questions. And if anybody has a question about my issues with the budget, they're free to call or stop by.
Okay, yeah, I know Councilmember Kobayashi had said on a few occasions, where is the mayor? I expected him to come to talk about his
I'm
budget.
up here in the office doing the business of the city.
Okay. Do you have a good relationship with the council?
I would say that varies from issue to issue and day to day. I think that that's not atypical of mayoral relationships with the council.
Can you say anything about what Christine mentioned about?
I can. I'm not going to.
Maybe that'll be at the next press conference. Mostly we wanted to know about what you thought about the governor's comments. He seems like he's still supportive of rail, but just a little bit questioning this project.
Since I haven't spoken to him about it, it would be inappropriate for me to make a comment until he and I have discussed the matter.
All right,
Okay?
thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?